Alright, welcome to Master Quest Spirit Temple. First things first, turn around and hit this switch up on the wall. Most projectiles can hit the switch, the only thing that won't reach is regular bombs, and that spawns a chest. Go up the stairs and blow up this boulder and shoot the switch behind it to spawn a small key chest. Note that if you place the bomb on the ground below the boulder, it won't actually blow it up. Go ahead and crack open both of those chests you just spawned, as well as a third chest that was already here, spawned from the start. Over here is a water jet that doesn't do a very good job of keeping you out of the lower adult areas. The only glitchless way to get through will be as adult with the hover boots, and generally I think that if you can do these checks over there, then going that way first will be the correct routing option. To get through the water jet, get into position and forward roll into this wall. On the frame that you bonk or the frame before, equip hovers and hold, I don't know, right maybe? It's not very consistent for me. If you do it incorrectly, the water jet will crush you against the ceiling and you'll void out. This allows you to get to this area early, skipping a lot of requirements including Bombchus, longshot, Silver Gauntlets, a fire source, and mirror shield. Over here, let's start by going through the left door. With the hookshot, you can get a Skulltula on the ceiling. Then to spawn the chest, jump down and kill a lot of Leevers. You need a Mega Leever to despawn. You don't actually have to kill it. So long as you start to see it come out, you can leave the sand. After the chest spawns, then you can longshot over to it. You'll only be able to reach the chest with just hookshot if it's large on chest size matches contents. If you want to leave the room, you'll have to play Zelda's Lullaby on the Triforce. If you don't have that song, then you'll have to warp out of the room one way or another. The right door here is locked, and if you've come into this area by sneaking through the water jet, then I have to advise extreme caution before unlocking it. It's not expected that this door is even reachable from the entrance in this way, so by opening the door, you could potentially keel off yourself. I think it could only be a problem if child is expected to do something in the main room of Spirit Temple before adult is able to access the main room, but then maybe you can't get there as child anymore because there are only 2 keys available and you wasted one on this door. This door logically requires all 7 keys. I'm going to attempt to at least say what the key logic is expecting of you at each step throughout the dungeon, but if you don't understand why things are the way they are, it might be difficult for you to internalize all the key requirements. To pass through, this room requires Hammer and all non-warp songs except Saria's song. First you'll play Song of Time, then Epona's song, Sun Song, Song of Storms, and finally Zelda's Lullaby. It's for this reason we often refer to this as the Symphony Room. Your prize is both a chest and a gold Skulltula. Maybe clear out some of those big Skulltulas before going for the chest. Heading back, if we have the hammer, we can spawn a small key chest back in the main room. Collect the first rupee in the corner, then hit the rusted switch under the boulder. Quickly get the other rupee here, and the rupee inside the water jet before the jet comes back up. Or not. Collect the final 2 rupees inside these boulders. After opening the chest, if you'd like to go back to the other side of that jet and you don't have Farore's Wind or hover boots to do it, you can do so by intentionally getting crushed by the water jet. Next, let's head up to the main room, which in MQ is accessed through the hallway that would normally be used as the shortcut in vanilla. Blow up the boulder by sending a Bombchus up the wall. Make sure the camera is facing the boulder, or else the Bombchus will not be able to blow it up. Then we can use the longshot to get up into the hallway. If you have the bow, then there's a trick you can do to spawn the small key chest in this hallway as adult, but it can only be done prior to pushing the silver block. Stand about here, line up an angle toward the eye switch, perform bow extension, and then aim slightly down and shoot. You're normally supposed to come here as child and shoot the switch with the slingshot prior to pushing the block into the hole. A randomizer specific hack had to be implemented so that the block would not be in the hole if you were to push it first and then come back as child. Logically, this chest expects all 7 small keys. The fact that there are small key chests in this dungeon that logically require all of the small keys is the reason that vanilla keys starts you with 3 keys in Master Quest Spirit Temple. Since you might sometimes have to spawn this chest as child, let's talk about the frozen eye switch here that unbars this door. Normally, child would get into that room using Din's fire on the frozen eye, but adult can open it for child using the fire arrows. Additionally, if you have Song and Time and bow, I'll show you a trick that you can do. Go up here and spawn a Song of Time block. Then from the very corner of the block, you can shoot an arrow through the torch into the frozen eye. Continuing with the actual opening of chest, come down here and shoot the eye switch on the side of the statue to spawn the compass chest. Let's continue up to the Sunblock Room. After jumping from the Song of Time block over the railing with this box, climb up the stairs and jump down onto the hand, where there's a switch that you can place the box on to unbar the door. As adult, the Song of Time block here is not necessary, as you can jump far enough to reach the hand without it, but the jump is too far to make as child. I'm not even going to bother to explain how you're intended to get this Skulltula. Just stand about here and hit it with the longshot. For now, I'm going to leave the token behind because I want to show a trick to obtain it as child. Then let's pull both of these blocks into the light. The first one opens the doors out of this room, and then the second one spawns a chest. To continue up to the Silver Gauntlets chest requires an extra key, and I don't recommend ever spending that key. Spending a key on that door as adult unless you can't actually reach the Mirror Shield chest, which could only happen if you don't have Song of Time. I want to give a warning to be very careful about how you spend your small keys in this dungeon. You don't want to force yourself to leave and find more keys because you use them poorly. So consider save scumming any keys used unnecessarily until you know that you will have enough keys to clear everything. An important chest to consider is one we refer to as the Temporal Paradox chest. On the lower child side, you can use 2 keys to hammer a switch to spawn a chest for child to collect. Because it could be some time before you return to that chest, the keys for those doors cannot reasonably be save scummed. So, for that reason, I recommend leaving that chest, leaving all of lower child climb for last here as adult, so you can make sure you have enough keys for it. To get over to adult side, you can longshot the floor master or the torch from child side. You can also longshot over to an invisible chest on the upper ledge, jump down onto the hand, and play Zelda's Lullaby to spawn another chest behind this box. If you're not doing the trick to get past the water jet and get into lower adult side, to get there, you'll have to light 3 torches in this room, find a good vantage point, and quickly shoot all 3 torches with the fire arrows. A good time to do this might be when you pick up the box from this Song of Time block. But if you don't have fire arrows, there is a trick you can do to get all of them lit in time with bow and Din's fire. To do that, first you'll have to clear out a wall master so it doesn't get in the way. Next, hookshot this torch until you're able to stand up there next to it. I got it first try, but it can be finicky. Light the torch with DIMs, and then shoot through it at one of the other torches. Once 2 torches are lit, run over and use Din's fire to get the door open. If you have Scarecrow Song, you can also spawn Pierre and use him to get to Adult Side. Don't hook him directly in the front, or you'll fall back down instead of staying up there. To get down to the lower floor, you need to defeat the enemies to open a gate. The only wall master you actually need to kill is the one that spawns naturally. You need to use Mirror Shield to spawn 3 more wall masters, but those ones you can just wait for them to despawn. Sometimes the light pool in the middle of the room will fail to load. You'll try to use the Mirror Shield and nothing will happen. If that occurs, try going 2 rooms away and coming back, and then hopefully the light pool will be active. I already showed you those rooms down there, so let's climb farther up the Spirit Temple. Unlocking this door expects 5 smokies. You'll need to hookshot over a flame wall to get through this hallway. Defeating all of the BMOS in this room spawns a chest. Going through toward the Mirror Shield hand, you'll have to solve this Song of Time puzzle. First, play Song of Time while standing near the left Song of Time block. Then play Song of Time 2 more times while standing near the right Song of Time blocks. Then you'll be able to place the box onto the switch. Do your best not to have to go this way more than once, as you will have to solve the Song of Time puzzle every time. To get at this pool of light, you don't need to do anything with this Song of Time block. You can easily climb onto it and reflect the light from there. Kill the Gibdo to get at the boss key chest. Slash this chest with your sword to unbar the next door. Fight the invisible floor master and then the Iron Knuckle in order to reach the Mirror Shield chest. And of course from there you can longshot across to get the Silver Gauntlets chest as well. I'm going to attempt to explain the key logic for Silver Gauntlets chest. It's typically going to expect 4 keys if you have Song of Time and 7 keys if you don't. Song of Time reduces the key requirement by allowing either child side or adult side to be climbed to reach the chest. On Dungeon ER, you could sometimes be required to pass through the Spirit Temple to reach Desert Colossus. The logic for that is the same as with the Silver's chest, 7 keys or 4 keys in Song of Time, except child will always require 7 keys. The reason for this difference is Spirit Temple's logic sometimes exists as a superposition of both adult and child at the same time, if that makes any sense, while the rest of the world's logic expects Link to always be defined as one age or the other. So I guess you could say that always requiring 7 keys for child to pass through the dungeon is preventing the wonkiness of Spirit Temple from infecting the rest of the world. Now let's head for the uppermost areas of the dungeon. Unlocking this door expects 6 small keys, but if you're just trying to beat the dungeon as quickly as possible, you'll only actually need 2 of them. This room is a bit of a mess. If you have the bow, probably just use it to kill these keys right away. Then long shot the top of the shifting wall and fall down into the silver rupees. This next locked door logically requires 7 keys, and there are 2 gold Skulltulas inside. Don't bother with the iron knuckle, just hookshot the Skulltulas through the gaps. You'll need Zelda's Lullaby to open this next door. And you'll need Hammer to open the door after that. Both Lullaby and Hammer are hard required to beat this dungeon. To solve the mirror puzzle, first reflect light onto the sun switch to temporarily lower a fire ring around the second rotating mirror. Now run over and push that second mirror into place. In this little alcove here is an invisible small key chest. Push the first mirror into place, then head back and light the sun to lower the platform. Quickly melt the face before the wall master can get you. Always melt the face right away. Don't risk having to solve the mirror puzzle again in order to have to get the light source back. Now hopefully we've got at least 2 spare keys, so let's clean up the child climb area that we skipped earlier. You want to kill all the enemies in this room to spawn a chest. And bombing the wall for light also spawns a small key chest up on a ledge. That's another of the vanilla small key chests that logically requires all of the small keys. I like to snipe this like from above with a bow if I have it. The enemy's chest logically expects 6 small keys, since you're able to fight the enemies in here regardless of whether you unlocked the upper door as adult or the lower door as child to get in here. Hitting that crystal switch opens a gate to get down to the floor below. Unlock the door and hammer the switch to spawn the Temporal Paradox chest. To leave back the way you came, for some reason requires you to hit the crystal switch again. Let's long shot back up to the elevator and over into the boss room. Stay tuned. After Twin Rova, we'll be going back Child to take a tour of Child Spirit. Unlike in vanilla, in MQ it is possible for Twin Rova to drop a small key. After going through this crawl space, we have to fight some torch slugs. You can fight them with stick or sword jump slashes or explosives. If you have to use Bombchus, it's pretty annoying, because the slugs don't blow up the chews automatically. You might have to time the explosions. With sticks, I recommend breaking your stick as soon as you enter, and then using a Decanut if you have one to put out their flames. We've already spawned the Temporal Paradox chest, so let's crack that open. It's the third of 3 vanilla small key chests that logically require all 7 keys. If you don't have Bombchus, Dins, and Slingshot, you can just take the left door and get the one chest there. Otherwise, we'll take the right door, head around, and get both chests. Start by killing this Gibdo, pull the second grave, and hit the switch underneath. Then, send a Chew across the room and shoot the eye switch behind it. Finish by killing 2 more Gibdos. You have to fight a Stalfos in the next room, so let's get Broken Stick in preparation for that. Be careful how you go through this door. Too far to the left, and you will instantly burn your shield. Kill the Stalfos, and proceed to the next room. I've never seen this before. Let's use the Slingshot now to kill these keys. Under this grave is another switch to lower a bridge. Finally, the only way to kill this Anubis is to use Din's Fire. Once all the enemies are defeated, the small key chest spawns. The logic for this chest expects sword or sticks, even though you don't really need them, just because of how many things you have to fight to get here. And this is the map chest. Climbing Child Spirit in general feels much worse in MQ than it does in vanilla, but supposing you have to do it, send a Bombchus through this crawl space to destroy the boulder blocking it, and continue up through. Normally, when climbing as Child for the first time, hitting the switch here will drop a like on your head, so be ready to deal with that. I've already shown all of these checks being done when I went through as adult, but there are a couple of tricks that can be performed as Child that I'd like to show. To get into the Sunblock Room as Child requires Song of Time because Child cannot jump far enough to reach the hand without it. But actually there's a trick you can do for Child to skip the Song of Time. You can throw the box onto the switch from above, but since that breaks the box, you only get a limited amount of time before the door closes back up, so you have to be quick. Here in the Sunblock Room is a great place to wear a Hylian shield if you have one. You can't trust the flaming bubbles in this room at all. The Skulltula up here expects you to be adult with a longshot, but there's a trick to get it with boomerang. You want to stand about here and aim to the side so that the boomerang curves into the block to hit the Skulltula. If you want, slingshot can be used to kill the Skulltula by shooting it from about the same place that I previously showed adult killing it. And now for completeness sake, let's go fight that last Iron Knuckle. The key logic for the things that Child can do in the main room or Sunblock Room is going to expect only 2 keys required if it's something that you can perform as both ages. For example, nothing about obtaining the Sunblock Room chest is Child specific, so it's only going to have 2 keys to obtain that as Child. On the other hand, using the slingshot to obtain the compass chest is Child specific, and so the logic for that will expect all 7 keys, except if you also have the bow. In that case, shooting the eye switch is something that can be performed as either age, and so now Child will only require 2 keys. Of course, as adult, it doesn't require any keys, but maybe adult can't actually get that far into the dungeon. You know what? Maybe just don't think too hard about it. And that was Master Quest Spirit Temple. A masterclass of level design if I've ever seen one. Good luck out there.